Um, let's talk a little bit about firm websites, because again, I think more and more firms have websites, often say things on their websites that make us cringe, where they basically guarantee projects as part of their marketing ploys. But I think there's a lot of other problems with firm websites, and I'm sure you're aware of many of these. One is, posting information, and whether a firm actually, is just posting information by itself, or is allowing others to comment or post information, with the kind of permissions that might be needed. That would seem to be a prime area for violating trademarks or exposing confidential information. Could you comment a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure, Frank. I think that's an issue with any kind of entity that has websites, is that obviously if you have a firm website and let's say you're going to post information about a project, what exactly are you posting? Is it something that you own? Are you the author of the information you're posting? You need to make sure that you're not copying something from someone else's marketing brochure, for a project and putting it on there, because you don't really own that. You need their permission to do that. It's not a fair use because you're using that information, for a business purpose. If you're going to copy over a photograph, you don't own that photograph. You didn't take it. You're getting it from somewhere else. Do you have permission to use that photograph? If it's a photo you took, you need to make sure that it's of, if it's a client's business, have they given you permission to use that photograph on your website? Certainly, as we talked about earlier, trademarks. If you're doing a work, for Hyatt, you're doing one of their new hotels in a city. Do you have Hyatt's permission to, put their trademark on your website? If you write just, we've done this work for Hyatt and we built this building, you're okay there. But if you take their trademark, the Hyatt symbol, and put it on, then you have an issue. As for blogs, I see that's next on the list. Blogs are an interesting thing in that, really, if you're going to have a public blog where people can come in and post things, you're not liable for any defamation or libel that someone posts out there, because it's a public access, and you don't have to screen the public for that. A lot of people are always surprised about that, but the way the laws have been interpreted, it's that they want blogs to be, have freedom of expression and freedom of speech. So you can't be held liable for somebody else putting something on a blog that's, a public blog. If you have,
what about the situation where you post on your blog information about a project and invite comments, and one of the comments is derogatory of the client, maybe of the project as well, but of the client, that's not going to get you in trouble?
It may get you in trouble with the client, but
but not with the law.
But under federal law, and it's always interesting about that, if you have a blog and you say, hey, what's everybody think about this new Trump Tower in, Miami, Florida, and people start writing in and ripping, Donald Trump and saying all kinds of nasty things, it's a public blog. He can't sue you for what someone else wrote, even if they write something that's wrong and defamatory. The courts have looked at that, and the reasoning behind it is that it's freedom of speech, and if you made people edit and critique blog postings all the time, nobody would put up a blog, because they would feel that they were always they would always be subject to liability. So the courts have gone the other way and said you can do whatever you want in some respects.
Yeah. Well, what about information your firm might post on a company blog? So I think there's still a problem with plagiarism.
Absolutely.
Misrepresentation.
If it's your own stuff, right, then yeah. If you're posting information on a blog that's your own stuff, then you have an issue there. And that's why, whether it be copyright infringement if you're posting someone else's work, or plagiarism, if you're posting something that someone else wrote and, saying it's your own, or
blogs often feed off other blogs. If you're putting on your blog a link to something else or copying on your blog something that came from another blog, do you have any obligation to determine whether it's in fact correct or truthful?
If you're just doing it publicly, no, that would fall under, as I talked earlier about how you don't have to critique and edit things. If you're going to put, say you see an article in, the Philadelphia paper about a new project, and you think it's a great article that everybody should read, you can then say, hey, this is a great article, here's what they say here, and then maybe you copy it word for word. As long as you give them the credit for it, that article, and you have a link, then you're okay there. It's when you're trying to say that it's your own. If you copy it and then give your own, and try and pretend that it's you that wrote this, article about a new project, then you have an issue.